to another video, people. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And yeah, welcome to another transfer video. No, we haven't signed anyone. Don't know what's going on nowadays with West Ham, but we're here to talk West Ham news. And I don't do many of these rumor videos. I don't, but I feel like today is just to give you my thoughts on what's going on because I don't do this every day where every day I've got to drop a West Ham news video because we're linked with someone. I can be here all day. I'm not going to do that, despite the fact that it does get views and subs. I just need to keep my integrity rather than just making the same video every day. But listen, people, make sure to do leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. We're trying to reach 1K as soon as possible. And we're nearly at 750, not far away from 800 either. So we're closing in on the last quarter already. So thank you to everyone that's been supporting as of recently. The support has been immense since the start of 2025. And yeah, let's start with the main story. It's been reported by everyone, but I'm going to bring up the Ben Jacobs report. The reason why I'm going to bring up the Ben Jacobs report, as much as he's like only semi-reliable, my whole thing is with Ben Jacobs is he does get some things right, and he kind of does tell the truth, but he kind of twists it in his own way. When it comes to West Ham, anyway, for other clubs, he does get quite a bit wrong. But the reason why I'm bringing up his tweet as well is because he's mentioned the three strikers that West Ham have been mainly linked with throughout the window, barring Rodrigo Muniz and Taiwo Awoniyi. But this one is about Evan Ferguson. Ferguson remains high on West Ham's list of options, along with Andre Silva. No breakthrough yet on Brian Brobby. Despite agreeing terms with the player, West Ham already approached Brighton 2 weeks ago on Ferguson. Now, here's the problem, people. Here's the problem. Everyone has always asked me, like, for the past, we've been linked with Evan Ferguson since Fulcrook was injured, like, originally, when he was coming back from injury. And when Antonio got his accident, unfortunately, had his accident. Everyone asked me about Evan Ferguson. What do I think of Evan Ferguson? I think he's a good player. He's very injury prone, though. My only thing is, as I said before, the deal only makes sense if it's a loan. If you're going to loan him, there's an option to buy that we can trigger at the end of the season. Because I don't see the point of a straight loan for a player that we're going to probably help Brighton flip, like if he does well, or help Brighton keep as a good squad option. There's a reason why they're trying to sell him, because of his injury record. He's not the most clinical either. He's got one hat trick in his career against Newcastle at the start of last season, but there's quite a lot of people got hat tricks that aren't good players. So it kind of doesn't really say much. Like, at this point, we're not really playing anything, so playing for anything in the case of the season. So my whole thing is, like, you just need to just have a number in there. So whether it is Brobby, Silva, or Ferguson, whoever you want to sign, just sign them. Just sign them. I'm going to give all of them a chance, no matter what I think of the original signing. Am I inspired by any of these options? No, I am not. I am not. I'm not inspired by any of these options. The reason why I'm not inspired is because Andre Silva is a slag around Europe, like in terms of he moves from club to club to club. He's not exactly the most inspiring striker. Not exactly the type of profile we need, but also not the most clinical either. It's a typical West Ham signing, but for all the wrong reasons. Going from Duran to Ferguson to Brobby to Silva is nuts. It's nuts. Speaking of Brian Brobby, this guy scored 1 goal this season in the Eredivisie. Do people really think he's going to do well? I don't know why people actually want this guy. The only good thing about him is that he's a younger striker. But young doesn't mean good. Young does not mean good in football. Not in football. For me, just because you're young doesn't mean you're going to develop into anything decent. Doesn't mean you've actually got any quality there. Like, look at half the players that get hyped up nowadays. They only get hyped up because of their age rather than any form of ability that you may see on the pitch. And any sign that you'll see them develop at any point. Because for me, I don't even know what type of striker Brian Brobby looks like when he's on the pitch. He's not exactly the quickest. He's stocky, but he looks like the Michelin man. He's not exactly the strongest either. He's not going to wrestle strikers off like Antonio. He's not going to hold the ball up well like Fulcrook. He's not going to link play. He's not an out-and-out finisher where he strikes the ball really well. Evan Ferguson would probably be the best out of the bad bunch. Because of, yes, the age as well, as I just mentioned. But I do see some quality in Evan Ferguson. I do. So if he does flop, we're more likely to get some form of sell from him due to the fact that even though he's not English, he's been at Brighton and West Ham, a Premier League player. You can still kind of flip him, maybe not for profit, but I don't know, man. I have no idea. But this is my problem with West Ham right now is that obviously there's the whole Guilherme situation as well. The whole Guilherme situation is made me spiral out of control a bit because this guy was meant to be a young, promising Brazilian, and a lot of people are just going to blame Tim Steidten for it. But my whole thing is, he was meant to be signed as someone that's going to come in for Paquetá Kudus for when they leave. You know, someone that's going to play at a 10 or on the wings. But he's not happy with game time, rightly so. He should be getting more game time than he actually is. Even under Potter, like I think Potter's not playing him because obviously there's too many rumors of him actually leaving. And I get that we haven't got many first team players available, but is there any point of having him on the bench if you're gonna not play him? He's only really come on as a sub a couple of times. I think he came on as a sub against Palace and the Villa in the cup, in the cup game against Aston Villa, where we can't really be afforded to selling a front three player while we haven't got anyone in. We don't need to sell to buy. It's bullshit. We don't need to sell to buy. There's none of that. That's a load of nonsense. I think everyone knows that already, and I think I could have told you before the window started that we weren't going to sign anyone. Now, granted, we had a different manager before the window, and I said don't sign anyone with the previous manager in charge. But now that we've got a manager in charge, which again, bad time to make the managerial change. You should have done it 2 months ago, minimum. For me, September, but here's what it is. And you got his recruitment analyst or whatever, the Kyle guy from Chelsea and Brighton is. You got him in the middle of January as well. You actually got him last week. So for me, it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a mess because they ain't got any time to recruit anyone. Now, I get that Graham Potter probably doesn't want to just assign anyone. However, he probably does want a couple players. So I'd still be worried if I was him. Being like, what the fuck is this club doing? He's probably quite calm about it, but at the same time, that's kind of not the reason for that. Like with Guilherme, yeah. Like, cool, Steiden's gone now. I hope people are happy. Because we're just going to be having David Sullivan sign other players, and we're going to act like David Sullivan has had better transfer windows than Tim Steiden has. But if you want to believe the dwarf, believe the dwarf. The guy is 4'2". I'm not believing a man is 4'2". People call me short. I'm 6 foot compared to David Sullivan. So I ain't trying to hear it. With the Steiden thing with to do with Guilherme, you get a young Brazilian in, good on the ball, quick, technical, rated highly by Brazilian fans themselves, and you don't play him. What is the point? What is the point of selling him and giving him a chance? The thing is, there's generally people that will call him shit because he had like 20-minute cameos and he's never ever started a game for us. I don't think he's ever started a game, not in the Premier League, not in the FA Cup, not in the Carabao Cup. He's not started a game all season. How are we meant to judge him? This would have been the best time for him to play as well, with all the injuries and suspensions that we've had in attack. But he ain't got a chance. How many times do I talk about West Ham players and West Ham transfers that we make that don't get a chance? There is no point getting excited at West Ham anymore. There's no point getting excited when a transfer comes in, whether it's player dopamine. I'll probably gas it at the time, but realistically, are they going to get a chance? Fucking no. How many times has this happened at this club where we sign a player in the summer and then we sell them in January because we barely play them? So it isn't just bad scouting; it's bad man management from the managers that are in charge at the time. But let me get onto this last story as well, because this one's interesting. L'Equipe, I think, are quite reliable. West Ham to rival Tottenham to sign England international Angel Gomes as a free agent next June. I don't think we will get him, but at the same time, I do think this will be a very good signing. Because this is the type of midfielder we need. Someone that's technical, that can play deeper and advanced areas, passing the ball in between the lines would suit the various formations we play on the pitch. This is a Graham Potter player. Yes, it's a free signing, but it'd actually be one of the few smart free signings that we'd actually make. I'd imagine he's going to leave. Lille, I don't know how well they're doing in the league or whatever, but the reason why I think he's going to leave is because of the amount of attention he's had over the past year. He's even been linked back to Manchester United. I wouldn't, I wouldn't see any reason why he wouldn't leave. Maybe go back to the Premier League, go back to his home country or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see because West Ham and Tottenham, these are the two clubs that love a freebie. They love a freebie. They love a freebie. Levy and Sullivan, they love a player on a cheap. But I think this would be a very good signing as well, and it'll be a significant upgrade on the players that we have that play in deeper areas, the Sucheks, the Alvarez's, and the Rodriguez's, etc. as well. Especially if we're not going to get, even if we're not going to get like a Carlos Soler on a permanent, Angel Gomez would be a good alternative for that to fill in that position. It'd fill in quite a few areas of the midfield. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with that. If we get him, I don't think we will, because how many times we see West Ham linked to these kind of players? But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe. We're trying to get as many previews for the Chelsea game as possible because of the amount of Chelsea connections we have in the space on YouTube. So shout out to everyone inside. And yeah, probably have the stream tomorrow with Prime. We've got a show with Lewis on 7 p.m. on Friday. Gonna try and get Melon and Alfie on for the London show as well. I've got a couple of other people that I want to try and get on leading up to the game, but then again, we will see overall. Make sure to like the video, people. Subscribe if you're new. Road to 1K is on. Subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. Yeah, Road to 1K. Social media is in the description if you want to follow me at GVO Mikes on all platforms and at GVO Mikes Clips if you want to, follow me on the Clips channels on TikTok and Instagram as well. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.